Hi, happy Friday. My name is Shannon Gilmore, and I'm with Third Eye Nutrition. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about functional nutrition and medicine and sort of how it can help or serve you. When I was back in school and I got my degree in dietetics, and then I went on to do graduate work, I sort of left the womb of the science world and thought I was the food expert and I knew everything. And as I continued to work throughout my career in different clinical settings and hospitals, I kept hearing all this different information that was very, sometimes even directly contradicting what I had learned in school from like naturopaths or various doctors, functional doctors. And I didn't know why. And I kind of just poo-pooed it for a while, because maybe I was a little cocky about it, like, oh, they don't know. But as time went by, I kept hearing the same messages, like a certain diet for a certain disease or these supplements for something. And I thought, gosh, I don't know anything about that. And I started to scratch my head a little bit, and ultimately after 8 or 9 years, humility set in and I was like, okay, I need to find out more. I need to know more about the human body and biochemistry and like what are they talking about? Just I want to learn. And so I just humbly went into a program that wound up being about 3 years long. I didn't expect to be in school again for that long. And what I discovered was basically a functional medicine approach, which was vastly different than a conventional approach. I wanted to, what I started to learn in this program was basically that no system in the human body is separate, that you can't give general formulations or advice for everyone or for all disease states. So if it's, you're a diabetic, then I wouldn't give my general spiel for every single diabetic I met, which is what I was doing before. And so I really learned that nothing truly was separate, and I wanted to look at it from like a holistic perspective, because in conventional medicine today, what you see is if you have gut issues, you go to a gastroenterologist. If you have allergies, you go to an allergist. Like, everyone is very segregated and specialized, and no one's really talking to each other, and that's part of the problem. But the functional approach is very, very different. So for instance, let's say you have a tremendous amount of anxiety every day or depression, or you're really, really stressed at your job, or even you're just a type A personality. Well, that basically means that your sympathetic nervous system is on all the time. And that can really impact your gut health, okay? And your gut health can have a huge impact on a variety of things, but one of the things that it didn't have an impact on is like your thyroid health, and your thyroid has an impact on your adrenals, and your adrenals and thyroid have an impact on your hormones. And you can see where I'm going with this, that it's all intermixed together, and everything works synergistically in this beautiful cohesive thing called the human body, and nothing is separate. And so it's all chemistry, whether it's your sleep patterns or you're being exposed to toxins on a regular basis, your attitude, if you have toxic negative attitude, your eating habits, what you're putting in your body, medications, your stress. These are all chemical reactions that are happening inside your body. And so what my job is basically to do is to put on my detective hat and look for where you are biochemically imbalanced, basically. Like, where are you inflamed? Where is there oxidative stress? And one tool that the functional medicine world uses oftentimes is basically functional testing. So there's a whole host of them. But these are tests that not even most conventional doctors even know about. But they're incredibly helpful to find out exactly what's happening inside your body, okay? So it's no longer general spiels. It's like very targeted therapy to what's actually happening inside you, okay? So basically what we're doing is I go to the root cause of what's actually happening in you. So now when I look at diabetes, it's not enough just to say, hey, I'm going to help you eat less carbohydrates on a daily basis, but you're going to be on metformin for the rest of your life. Now I ask the question, well, why is there inflammation at the insulin receptor site in the first place? Because it's not just about how much sugar you eat. It's like a whole host of things that can impact that sensitivity. So, with that said, we live in an incredibly challenging world. Like, there's so much stress. There's a tremendous amount of toxins exposed on a daily basis to people. There's a lot going on. And what you're seeing is sort of this paradigm shift of there's like a new normal. Like the paradigm shift is that there's a new normal of way of being. So people think that maybe it's normal to be constipated 2 to 3 days out of the 7 days a week. It's normal to maybe only sleep 4 to 6 hours and you just kind of have some insomnia and you pop a sleeping pill every now and then. Or that you drink wine every single night to kind of take the edge off of life. Or that you're kind of overweight and you can't seem to get it off even if you exercise and starve all the time. Well, it's just my genes. The even like elevated cholesterol levels, like, oh well, it's not great, but I'll go on a statin. So all these things aren't, terrible, but I'll just figure it out with this pill or whatever, this problem solution. So what is really doing though is that your body's like, all these symptoms are basically like they're little hints that you're out of balance. Okay, and the longer that you're out of balance, the more likely that you're going to probably lead to chronic disease. Okay, so your body is designed to go back into balance. It's meant to. But if you don't remove the splinter that's always causing the inflammation or the problem, then you're always going to be just monitoring the symptoms, and then it eventually goes into something bigger and more serious because you're not dealing with what's actually underneath everything. So, I can only use myself as an example that, recently I was diagnosed with an autoimmune, sort of my autoimmune numbers are triggering positive, which means I don't know what it is, but it's a disorder of some kind. And this autoimmune diseases usually take about 20 to 30 years for it to develop in the human body. So I have to go all the way back to anywhere between like 10 to 25 years old and go, okay, what happened back then? What was I eating? What was the stress levels? And when I go back, it's actually like pretty obvious. Like there was a lot of things happening in my life that weren't conducive to a healthy inner world and outer world. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that you don't want to just automatically go to a pill or like an antacid. Let's say if you have heartburn, okay? Like it's an indication that something's off if you have heartburn. It's an indication that if you have infertility issues, there's something underneath that's off. If you're depressed all the time, if you have thyroid issues, these are all indications, that you're off. So if you have, your TSH levels are off, you need to go on a medication, pause, and first find someone to help you go under the problem, at the root cause of it, and figure out why is your thyroid out of whack in the first place. Okay, so conventional medicine is wonderful at helping with really serious things like you're having a major heart attack and you're going to die. It can immediately help with that problem. Major surgeries, removing tumors, a broken bone that you get to reset. These are really, really important things, and we have amazing technology and amazing science to help with those things. But the one area in America that conventional medicine really, really fails is not only just preventative, but even chronic disease, because chronic disease is often just treated with a pill, or in a lot of cases, a lot of pills. Okay, so rather than go to that route, why not try to first go to the route of, okay, well, why is this all developing in me in the first place? And so that's what a functional medicine can do. It can help you with that. And I would hate for you to kind of go down and develop a chronic disease when you could have just at first changed your diet a little bit, or your sleeping patterns, or your stress levels, or whatever it is that's causing it, because all of those things ultimately cause your SNPs in your body, your genetic components, the genes get expressed when they shouldn't be. And that can honestly be prevented tremendously if you just go to what's underneath all of it. Okay, so there's certain genes that you do not want expressed in your body. Okay, this is your heritage it's been passed on to you, your lineage of the book of life that's been passed on to you. So try to go down that path first of what's underneath it before we start going into the meds and surgeries and things like that. Okay, so hopefully that'll just help direct you, because all of us at some point have to do it. We all have genetic vulnerabilities and they all get expressed at some point. So the various things that I've mentioned are sort of triggers to all of that. So hopefully that can sort of help you along your path to help choose which direction you go to when you select a clinician. Okay, so have a lovely weekend, and I will talk to you next Friday. Ciao.